On a previous edition of the Strongest in Dragon Ball series, I discussed the incredible potential and power of Goku Black. And Goku Black's counterpart, future Zamasu, was in actuality not a very impressive fighter, and it wasn't until the use of the Super Dragon Balls to make him immortal that truly made future Zamasu a dangerous threat. But the danger would not end there, as Goku Black and future Zamasu would use the Potara to fuse to create Gatai Zamasu, fused or merged Zamasu, the final villain of the Future Trunks arc, the final boss. And on this video, we're going to discuss the most incredible power of this first-time Potara fused foe, as he did things that we've never seen before and haven't seen since in Dragon Ball. This video is sponsored by Cacao Games and Black Desert Remastered. Click the link in the description to download this MMORPG, which is sure to provide tons of hours of entertainment for you and yours. This remastered update to the game has amazing high-definition graphics, real-time action-based combat, amazingly detailed character creation system, 16 classes, so every time that you play the game, you get a different experience, and every time you play it, it provides new challenges. Plus, the game is always being updated with small and large expansion and content updates to keep the game fresh. Check out the link down below in the description to download the game. Check it out because you'll have a blast playing Black Desert Remastered. It should be noted that Merged Zamasu's power in the actual anime and manga was upscaled from Toriyama's original vision. As he revealed in an interview back in 2017, Zamasu was never supposed to be that strong. Toriyama's original vision was that he would be about as strong as two Super Saiyan Blues, and no mention of fusion whatsoever or Vegito's involvement in this fight was discussed. But for the anime and later the manga, they decided to make this guy a much more serious threat than had ever been seen before, especially at the very end, which we're going to get to. Now, when he first becomes fused Zamasu, his design is very interesting when compared to other fusions. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but there's a couple of very strong pieces of symbolism here. First of all, the halo behind him, and the fact that he also has spiky white hair, which appears to be a mutation of Super Saiyan Rose. It has never been officially stated to be called Super Saiyan White or anything like that, but it appears to be some kind of version of that mixed with, of course, Zamasu's hair, and of course the very symbolic and creepy halo behind him, symbolizing the perfect amalgam of mortal and god body. Now, he quickly goes on to state that he has a body that can infinitely increase in strength and is immortal. So obviously, like we said before, the Super Dragon Balls is really what made a huge difference in Merged Zamasu. It's quite possible, in fact, very likely, that had Merged Zamasu not been partially immortal due to future Zamasu's immortality wish from the Super Dragon Balls, this fight would be a much easier battle for Vegito Blue. And even though Merged Zamasu is always considered to be dangerous, when it comes to his immortality, it really goes to show how bad things can get if the Super Dragon Balls fall into the hands of the wrong person. There are some very interesting statements made early on during the battle with Merged Zamasu that are very much an eyebrow raiser. First of all, Vegeta says he's never seen somebody give off that much energy before, or give off energy quite like that. Here's a dude who has faced off against Beerus and Whis, and when he first saw Merged Zamasu, even he was surprised. Then we have the Supreme Kais saying that his standing as a god is beyond even our own understanding. So even a god is having trouble understanding just what the hell is going on. Now, one thing I will say is that the anime version of this fight is very strange. Granted that Merged Zamasu has Goku Black's incredible potential with the Saiyan cells and future Zamasu's immortal, abilities, it seems like his power tends to fluctuate a bit. It's hard to explain because early on, we see him pretty much single-handedly wipe out Goku and Vegeta with ease, but then there are other times where it appears like our heroes are able to hold their own against Merged Zamasu, so it could end up being one of those things where their sheer will alone is raising their power, but it always felt like it was a bit strange that Goku by himself was able to win a beam struggle against Merged Zamasu, And yet, shortly after, the incredibly powerful Vegito Blue seemed to have fought more evenly against merged Zamasu. In the anime, Goku using Kaioken Blue was able to shatter merged Zamasu's Wall of Light. So theoretically speaking, Vegito Blue should have been easily able to destroy at least the non-immortal side of merged Zamasu. And that actually winds up being a key plot point in the, I guess you can say, transmutation of merged Zamasu. We find out, according to Gowasu, that his body is unstable because one half of the fusion is mortal and the other half is immortal because of the Super Dragon Balls, and thus, when the mortal side was supposed to die, the immortal side kept his body alive. This would lead to the grotesque Harvey Dent-esque, mutated merged Zamasu that fought Vegito Blue and was kind of the final foe that they faced. Then, in a total Deus Ex Machina, Trunks absorbed the power of a Genki Dama into a sword and sliced merged Zamasu in half, separating the immortal side from the mortal side, and we thought that was going to be the end of it, but it actually wasn't, because, again, the power of the Super Dragon Balls are apparently limitless, and we're going to get to that here shortly, but I want to discuss a little bit the manga version, because the manga version of merged Zamasu is slightly different. It appears like the manga version is not as powerful or as fearsome as the anime version, and the main point to back that up is the fact that Goku, under his mastered Super Saiyan Blue form, which appears to be a manga exclusive as of right now, was able to hold his own against merged Zamasu. That really didn't make much sense, considering that, this guy was so tough to beat, but it's sort of Toyotaro's way of showcasing the mastery of Super Saiyan Blue and how strong it was. However, when it comes to the anime, there's interviews with several staff members that discuss just how strong merged Zamasu is. For example, there's a question being asked on November 10th, 2016, when it was translated by Herms, where they asked if merged Zamasu was unbeatable, and he says, even by the standards of the Dragon Ball world, I think it's fitting to call merged Zamasu a cheat character. He has unrivaled power to beat down his enemies and the power of immortality, which nullifies all attacks. Another highlight is all the different techniques he comes up with. If he does have a weakness, I suppose it might be the fact that he was originally one person. So that isn't really something that comes into play in the actual show, but it is interesting to note that they were really promoting this. You have to also remember that whenever you have these interviews come out, the people doing them are always doing a hype job to get you to tune in to watch the show or to read the manga. But either way, this was not the maximum power of merged Zamasu. Let's talk about the final incarnation of Zamasu, Mugen Zamasu, otherwise known as Infinite or Astro Zamasu. This is the final incarnation of Zamasu in the saga, and both the anime and manga versions of Infinite Zamasu are very much different, to be honest. In the manga version, every time that Zamasu was cut into a piece or into a different piece, that piece would reform itself into being a version of Zamasu. So it was sort of like a disease in a way, where it would constantly multiply over and over and over again. So what ends up happening is that despite the best efforts of Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and the rest of the team, merged Zamasu just keeps making more and more clones because of the immortality granted to him by the Super Dragon Balls. He could not be defeated or killed like any other mortal. And so what ends up happening is, it ends up creating a giant army of Zamasus. And now it's almost like the future timeline in the manga was becoming more and more infested with this Zamasu disease, so to speak. And it took the efforts of Zeno, the Omni King, wiping away the entire multiverse to sort of kill the terminal disease that Zamasu had become, which is the same ending as the anime version, but the anime version, the feats and the power of Zamasu's infinite form are way beyond anything we've ever seen in Dragon Ball, even from some of the higher gods. So what happens is, Trunks makes a desperate attack and destroys Zamasu, or so we believe. Even though it appears like he wiped Zamasu out of existence into nothingness, what actually ends up happening is he only destroyed the physical body of Zamasu, and because of that wish he made to the Super Dragon Balls, Zamasu's essence, Zamasu's evil spirit, will not die. And some of the strangest stuff that's ever happened in the series happens here, where essentially, to try to explain it as best I can, Zamasu's ever-growing hatred and rage manifests itself into a non-physical body. So after Infinite Zamasu sheds his body, according to Gowasu, this gives him the ability to transfer his essence into the fabric of the multiverse in order to become one with the entire universe. This is something that is way trippy for Dragon Ball. We haven't seen this before in Dragon Ball. In other forms of fiction we have, but this is just a huge, huge feat for a villain to ever achieve. So with the power of the Super Dragon Balls, Zamasu begins to fuse with the universe, and as a result of this, makes the future timeline completely uninhabitable and polluted. It's almost as if the universe became sort of terminally ill and there was no way to fix it. In fact, what I think is one of the crazier feats of Dragon Ball Super Episode 67 is the fact that his power was so great that it was almost able to traverse the timelines. There was a shot of them going back to the past in the other timeline where they could actually sense the evil, dreadful energy coming from the future. That's right, merged Zamasu in this form, Infinite Zamasu was able to traverse time just by existing. That's how powerful he had become. And at this point, there was nothing that could be done except for having future Zeno appear and destroy the multiverse. And that's exactly what he did. He destroyed the entire multiverse. This has been confirmed by several sources after the episode aired. It wasn't just Universe 7. Zeno had to destroy everything. And that was the only way to wipe away Infinite Zamasu. They had to literally do the Dragon Ball version of Armageddon here and destroy everything. Now, even though I had problems with that arc ending, I can't ever forget how stunningly creepy the visuals were of Zamasu's face up in the skies, having complete dominance over the entire atmosphere, the entire essence of the multiverse. And it's something that we've never seen a Dragon Ball villain or character do since, and we've never seen before. And to me, that's what makes Ultimate Merge Zamasu or Infinite Zamasu one of the strongest characters ever in Dragon Ball. And really the debate's up in the air, because if it wasn't for Zeno, it's very possible that he could have polluted his way through the time sphere and maybe gone to the past and other timelines and done a complete conquering of everything. It's very possible that could have happened because of the power of the Super Dragon Balls if they fall into the wrong hands. So that concludes this episode of The Strongest in Dragon Ball, Merge Zamasu. Tough to top this one, but the dude was a completely frightening foe at the end there, but Zeno, Omni King were able to put a stop to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.